In our age of digital technology, there is a never-ending stream of information that is being thrown at us every single day. And the thing about that, about having information at our fingertips, is that we get to be exposed to a lot of influences from the world. And so like when you're online and you see all these news advertisements, I was reading a study recently about the detrimental effect of having a bunch of negative stimuli from the news. And actually what this psychological study did was they looked at how people felt after being exposed to a series of negatively slanted news media. And the study showed very clearly that it has a very profound effect on our attitude and our state of mind. People were generally more anxious, more sad, depressed, and worried, even about things that didn't relate to what they had heard on the news. I want to read a passage that is in the prophet of Isaiah. And he writes here, in a time when the people of Judah were being attacked by some foreign nations, both Syria and Israel, and then also the threat of Assyria was also close at hand as well. And this is what the prophet Isaiah writes here in chapter 8, starting in verse 11. For the Lord spoke thus to me, with his strong hand upon me, and he warned me not to walk in the way of this people. So Yahweh is telling Isaiah that he's not to walk in the way of the rest of Judah. And the reason for that is that the people of Judah were very afraid about the threat of these foreign invaders that were coming to Judah. He says, do not call conspiracy all that this people calls conspiracy, and do not fear what they fear, nor be in dread. Don't put a lot of credit in all the news you're hearing. All these things that people are saying, these conspiracies about the incoming attack and the threat of invasion and everything, and all the stuff that they're afraid of. God's telling Isaiah, don't fear what they fear. And don't call everything conspiracy that they're calling conspiracy. He's telling Isaiah to not listen to them, to not be too involved in all of the news that is coming at him. Rather, here's what the Lord tells Isaiah. He says, but the Lord of hosts, him you shall honor as holy. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he will become a sanctuary, and a stone of offense, and a rock of stumbling to both the houses of Israel, and a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. So here's the two outcomes the Lord is telling Isaiah, that you want to fear God, fear Yahweh, and not people. But the other side of that is that Yahweh will be a sanctuary, but then he will also be a rock of offense to those who don't trust in him. And these people who don't trust, it says, and many shall stumble on it, and they shall fall and be broken, and they shall be snared and taken. For those who don't trust in Yahweh, Isaiah is told that they're actually going to fall and be broken. They will be hurt because of the lack of faith that they have. So the encouragement that God told Isaiah was, don't look around and listen to what everybody else is saying. Listen to what I'm telling you. And I think that's a message for today as well in this age of news, digital news media, where there's just so much information and there's so much negative attitude and reports going on about how the world is doing that we could get caught up in that type of thinking. But rather than that, we should look to Yahweh, look to God, and trust in him, and don't fear what other people fear. We have nothing to fear with God on our side. God bless.